If you are eating healthy, but you don't see the fat loss that you want, if you feel like you're eating all the right things, but you're not tracking your food, that is the biggest mistake. And that is the mistake that I've just made going into my own fat loss phase. I have lost weight previously eating intuitively. I have lost weight previously not tracking my food, but it does take time. It took 3 to 4 months at least to get down a couple of pounds, between 4 to 6 pounds, which is fine. But the moment you start tracking is the moment you actually bring to reality how many calories you're eating, not just the macros. So macros are important to track, and it is the number one way that you will see the muscle definition that you want. So you should be eating, as a woman, at least 100 grams of protein, and as a man, 140 grams of protein minimum. That is the bare minimum that you should be eating every single day. And ideally, depending on your calorie and then your calorie deficit, you could be increasing that a little bit too. So I'm just going to go over my own stats, and I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I've been on this journey. This is day 20 of my own fat loss journey. And I've been getting on the body. So if you don't know, if you have no context, I've been getting on the scan at my gym, which is a smart scan, a smart body scale. And it has been telling me a lot of different things, and I very much enjoy the stats. But if we're just looking at weight, so I'm looking at the weight because I don't mind if I what do you call it? I don't mind if I lose muscle. I know that's shocking, but I've been lifting weights. Actually, let's just bring this to reality. Let me do this. So I'm wearing a giant baggy sweater because I don't know if you could hear me, but I am wearing a giant baggy sweater because I made 3 mistakes in the past 24 hours, which I will tell you about. And I don't feel well. I am on my period. I'm very emotional. I've got my claws out, and I have endometriosis. It's just for you to understand, my period is hell week. I don't like my period. It is a lot of pain. Gosh. So I'm not big. I'm not like giant, but you definitely see the muscle tone there. Like, there is a lot of muscle tone in just my upper body. Most people are like, oh no, we see you work out. Like, I remember going to an outing yesterday with my friends, and they were like, wow, like, you really do work out. I was like, yeah, I do. I've not been working out my arms as much. I think it's been a couple of weeks where I don't work on my arms, and I have really good tone, but I store a lot of my fat in my upper body and in my face and my arms, and then a little bit of my chest, but not my breast area, just the chest. So like, this part will sometimes bulge a little bit, but at the moment it's mainly this area that I see I have a lot more fat. My arms get bigger, so I have such nice muscle tone, but I don't see it as much because there's more fat. I've increased my body fat. And okay, let's just look at the stats that I have here. There is a downward trend, which I'm very proud about. So if you see here, there's a little bit of a glare here. Okay. So if you see, there's a downward trend, but it's not significant. Mind you, it only has been 3 weeks. And because I'm not tracking, I don't see a consistent, beautiful line that goes down. So this, I wish it were more downward. I wish there were more downs than there are a couple ups here. So especially that 65.2, that is an outlier. And if I could just erase that point, then you would see more of a downward trend, except for, and this is the thing, with my period, with my endo, and the 3 mistakes that I've made, my weight in 2 days. So I went from being 61.8, so 61.8 on Thursday. I'm just going to show it to you. Well, let's just go through here. To 63.3, and then today I am 64.3. So in one full, or actually, sorry, yeah, no, 63.3 and 64.3. In one day, I've gained 1 kilo. That is not fat. That is just water retention, and then the mistake that I made, which I'll talk to you about in just a moment. And then from 61.8 to 63.3, that was my period. That was water retention. So 3 mistakes that I've made. Number 1 was deciding that Friday was a no track day. So I started tracking on week 3. So on day 15 is when I started tracking, and I started seeing such great results in days because I was tracking. I was like, you are your own coach. Like, you should have known that you should have been tracking from day 1, and yet I didn't. So I'm going back to tracking. I didn't track on Friday. That was mistake 1, which meant I ate sushi and I felt so good. Sushi does have a lot of sodium. It also has a lot of carbs. So I want to say that I'm retaining a lot more water than I should for my period. But I also gain a lot of weight from my period just because I have endometriosis and the water retention. So that's number 1. I wasn't tracking, and then on top of that, I started tracking, but I did a no track day on Friday, which is day 2 of my cycle. So I let my emotions drive me there. Second mistake, I saw one of my favorite foods that I haven't had in 2 to 3 years. I think it's almost been 3 years since I've had white chocolate covered Oreos, and I went ballistic. I was like a child that hadn't been fed in days. I was like, give me the Oreos. And I went for the Oreos. And I have endometriosis, I am lactose intolerant, and I'm trying to lose fat. Does that sound like a solid idea? I didn't just have 1 or 2. And my morning routines have been completely, I don't want to say demolished, but they have. That's what it feels like. That word just suits it. It feels every morning when I don't have my 1 liter of water. So this is actually the exact cup that I use. I fill this up, I drink it all, and I have a great day. I haven't been doing this. It's the first week that I've been getting on my body scan scale without any water or food, and I miss this. This is part of my routine, so I'm going to bring it back. The body scans won't be 100% accurate. They won't be really, really great, but it'll have to do because I really need that water in the morning, and it's part of my routine. It's like safety, and it grounds me, and it also, the breakfast. So in my previous video, I talked about time indicators. These time indicators, it's a German word. I'm going to put it in the description down below. These time indicators help to regulate your hunger hormones. I have always struggled with my hunger hormones. My eating schedule has always been very difficult, and I know if I wait the whole day to have a meal, and I'll have the meal at night or like in the afternoon, I will overeat. That is a tendency of mine, and I have to have breakfast. So whether that's at 10 o'clock or at 12, or I usually like to eat it between 8 or 9, I'm going to go back to eating my breakfast at 9 o'clock in the morning and having my 1 liter of water. On top of that, so the second mistake I made was the Oreos with the white chocolate covered Oreos. I'm lactose intolerant. I didn't feel good at all. I woke up today and I wasn't flat. And it's the first time I wasn't flat in a couple of days, and I liked the feeling of being flat. And it snowballed along with stress and along with pressure that I'm putting on myself. So if you don't know, I am a wellness coach. I coach people to lose fat and build muscle, and specifically build a six-pack. There are a couple people that are going on vacation in December, a couple one-on-one clients, and I have the absolute pleasure to be there for them. But at the same time, this is the time of the year where people make mistakes because it is holiday season, especially with Thanksgiving coming up. I had my first encounters when people had office Thanksgiving dinner parties. And let me just charge this quickly, that way it doesn't go out, because the light does make a difference here. So with the holiday season coming up, it is going to get chaotic for me as a coach as I try to get people not to do what I just did, which is emotionally eat. And you see all the food, you see all the Oreos, you see everything, and you're like, well, there's a way to do what I call food management, where you make sure that you don't overdo it. And one of those is drinking your water. So drinking enough water throughout the day makes sure that you have enough fluids in your system and that you don't crave certain sweets. Sometimes when you crave sweets, especially sugar, you're actually just missing water. Another factor is the fact that you should be portion controlling, and when you track. So tracking your food allows you to be honest with yourself, including the smaller bites. I don't care if it's just a bite of a brownie, you put that into your tracker. Everything that goes into your mouth goes into the app. And as a wellness coach, I go through that with my clients, and we're honest with each other, and I have to be honest with myself. So I am tracking. Third mistake was this afternoon. I was getting groceries and I saw Simon Col with their turron. And this is very much a seasonal thing. So they only have turron here in Spain when it is Christmas season. That stuff it's my kryptonite. That is like the most delicious type of chocolate that I can think of, because it's buttery and it's like fudge but better. And it's also crunchy, and I love cookies, so it's a mix of everything, and it's got that texture. If you don't know what hyperpalatable foods are, my description is, the food industry makes food that is so addictive, you want more and you cannot help yourself but consuming more, especially when you're at a vulnerable state emotionally and you don't feel like you have anything that's fulfilling, or you are overly stressed and you're needing a dopamine hit. So as a chocoholic, I am a chocoholic in remission. Seeing these turrones, I was like, oh my God. And the food industry makes it so beautiful. The packaging is gorgeous. And it's this gingerbread turron from Simon Col. That's amazing. And one day I will go to their chocolate factory, but that's not ideal. I just said I'm a chocoholic in remission. So emotionally eating is where the food industry gets you. And hyperpalatable foods, it's psychology. Like you can't help it, but there are things that you can do to mediate it. I went to the grocery store not having eaten, and I said I'd pick up a couple of things, and one of those things was a turron. What did I do? I ate the turron. And I didn't track today either. So that's the third mistake that I make. I didn't track, and then because I was already feeling bad and I went to the grocery store a little bit hungry, and then I saw the turron. It's like a giant snowball effect. And tomorrow's a new day. Tonight I am going to drink another liter. I've had 3 of these, so I'll have my 4th. And I am going to start tracking, because tracking is going to make me transparent with myself, with you, and there will be more consistency in my fat loss. And again, I'm not showing you the stats for body fat, and I'm not showing you the stats, for muscle or anything else. I'm just showing you the weight, because A, many people only have the scale available at home, and B, I've seen so much fluctuation between the water and the fat. I do see now that my body scans have a correlation between fat and water. So a lot of times when my water retention increases on the stats on the body scan, it doesn't read the water retention, as water. It reads it as fat. And I was just looking at, for instance, let me actually show you because I have it right here. Ooh. Low battery, got you. So this is my weight. There's somewhat of a tendency there. It is going low. It is going low. This, by the way, this right here, especially the point of the DEXA scan. So the point where the DEXA scan is, I want to also call that an outlier, because I was at least 12 to 15 hours fasted, and then I did 8 different body scans over the course of 24 hours, and actually more than 8, but 8 body scans for the gym that I go to, and then 2 additional ones at the DEXA center. Gosh, the day that I have to do my second DEXA, I will have it with the same certain circumstances, And this week, especially with the portion controls, I know that my stats will go down a lot more significantly and a lot more stable. So going to body fat mass, this is why I'm not showing you body fat mass as a reliable indicator. There's so much to that. There's so much variation, and I know that there's a correlation between body water retention and the fat for this scan, for this scale, this particular scale, that I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I'd rather look at the weight because the weight is more indicative, and I just feel like that makes more sense. The fluctuations there aren't as drastic. And again, these are outliers because those were other circumstances. And then there is a downward trend until my period, and then we start going up. So I'm interested in seeing what this week holds as I bring more consistency to the game. I show you what tracking is like. I have not been consistent in showing you my journey. I'm going to be honest there. And I want to show up more, which is why I'm doing these talking videos. It is not easy to coach yourself, which is why you hire a coach. And from my view, when I look at it as a coach, I see it. But when I'm in the thick of it, when I'm the client, when I'm just being me, it is hard. And a lot of times, I wish I could reach out to somebody. I coach myself because it's fulfilling and I'm usually a lot more disciplined. But with the stress of my work and the fact that it is that season, it is the busiest season for me as a wellness coach. It's the added stress, and I need to manage my stress better. So my Aura ring will help me with that. And I will also be, there's so many factors that you can control, and yet I'm not controlling them. So tracking is one. And second, it is being able to coach myself better. And in fact, I've even told myself, put a couple of reminders on my phone or like emails to send to myself. I've done that in the past, where I send myself emails to remind myself of specific things, like I'm coaching myself. Does that make sense? So a lot of my clients, I'll check in with them via email and text message. And I think I need that personally for myself. And I can offer that to me, knowing full well what I need as a client. It's crazy to do that. It's crazy to say that because obviously I am my own client. I was my first client. And it's crazy to see. It's been 5 years. And you make the same mistakes, but you know how to bounce back a lot faster. And I've only been in this for 3 weeks. This is the 4th week going in. And I do feel like I've made a lot of progress. And mind you, I'm excited. I think this week, the 4th week, will be even better than the 3rd week, because the 3rd week was the strongest out of all 3. 3rd week was a lot stronger. But I think number 4 will be even more. And especially the 3 days after your period ends, those are the strongest. You feel your strongest, you feel great, and the water retention goes away. So I'm interested to see how much my weight drops with the decrease in water retention, and then also it being the optimal time for my period.